Grace and Rosie by Paul James Nicholson. Once upon a time, 1975 to be exact, in a lovely little house in Surrey Hills lived a beautiful young woman called Leslie. Inside Leslie, in her tummy to be exact, lived a cute little baby called Chrissy. And inside Chrissy lived two little egg follicles called Grace and Rosie. They were tiny little dots. Grace and Rosie weren't the only little dots inside Chrissy. There were 6,999,998 other little dots who lived with them. That's a lot of dots. One day, Chrissy was born when she popped out of Mummy's tummy. Pop! Now there were only 2,000,000 dots left. Rosie looked worried. "Don't worry, Rosie," squeaked Grace to her microscopic sister in a dot-like voice. "We'll make it." "I'm going to be burned first," squeaked Rosie. "No, I will," squeaked Grace. "No, I will," squeaked Rosie. Can you guess who was right? One day, Chrissy hit puberty and was popping a pimple in the mirror. Pop! Grace and Rosie hugged each other tightly because they were getting scared. There were only 400,000 little dots left. Chrissy went to school, drove a car, went to university, travelled the world, ate food, went to the toilet, went to bed, brushed her teeth, wrote a book, but most of all, she met Scotty. Yay! They fell in love and got married. Grace and Rosie were really worried now. There were only 70,000 little dots left. 99% of them had disappeared. They were in the final 1%. "Oh no," they squeaked. "What's happening to me?" squeaked Grace. "I'm changing." "Yeah, you look taller," squeaked Rosie. Grace was changing. She was turning from a tiny little dot into an egg. Meanwhile, Scotty was carrying around billions of little spermies. The spermies were tiny dots too, but they had tails, so they could swim like little tadpoles. A long time earlier, 1991 to be exact, one of Scotty's spermies had already swum really, really fast and kissed an egg called Beth. And do you know what happened? Beth was born. Yay! Now it was January 2014, and all the little spermies took their marks on the starting line. Spermie number 37,692,546,234 tied his little red headband around his little head and got ready to race. On your marks, get set, go! A billion little spermies swam as fast as their little tails could carry them. They swam and swam and swam. But guess what? Little headband spermie was still at the starting line doing up his shoelaces. Oh no! "Wait a minute," squeaked the little headband spermie. "I don't need to do up my shoelaces. I don't have any feet." Pyong! He sped off to catch up with the others. Meanwhile, back in Chrissy's tummy, Grace the little egg was gently floating down from all the other little dots towards a soft little garden. "Wait," squeaked Rosie. "Don't leave me." "I love you," said Grace. "I hope I see you soon." "I love you too," squeaked Rosie, who was still only a little dot. Grace the egg landed with a soft bump in the middle of the garden. "I'd better put on some perfume," thought Grace, and instantly smelled nice. "That's better," thought Grace. Hundreds of millions of spermie were bumping into each other, bumping into walls and rolling around being silly. "Why are you all bumping into things and being silly?" squeaked little headband spermie. "We don't know where the finish line is," they squeaked back. Suddenly, all the little spermies smelled a beautiful smell. Do you know what it was? It was Grace's perfume. "That's the most beautiful smell in the world," they squeaked. "I'm going to get there first," squeaked little headband spermie. Now the race was really on. Little headband spermie swam faster than ever now because he had to win the race. Up ahead they could see the garden. And Grace. She was the most beautiful thing little headband spermie had ever seen. Little headband spermie swam straight up to the garden, but when he got there, he saw that a few other spermies had already beat him and were bumping their heads into Grace. "How you doing, chickie babe?" they squeaked. Little headband spermie was sad because he loved Grace and he hadn't won the race. He picked a rose from the garden and squeaked, "You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Will you accept this rose?" Grace blushed at how sweet little headband spermie was. "Yes," said Grace, "you're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen too. Join me." a little hole opened, and little headband spermie swam inside. Instantly, a force field surrounded Grace and all the other spermies were locked out. Then something magical happened. Grace the egg and the little headband spermie merged together and started to grow. Rosie and all the other little egg follicles were watching it all happen from above, and they all cheered. "Yay!" they squeaked. "Yay!" squeaked Rosie. 9 months later, October 31st, 2014 to be exact, someone popped out of Chrissy. Pop! Can you guess who it was? It was Grace. She wasn't a little egg anymore. She was a baby, and everybody loved her. And can you guess what happened next? In June 2016, Rosie, the little egg follicle, started to grow into an egg and floated down to the soft garden. "I'm coming, Grace," squeaked Rosie as she put on her perfume. 9 months later, 17th of March 2017 to be exact, someone popped out of Chrissy again. Pop! Can you guess who it was? It was Rosie. She wasn't a little egg anymore. She was a baby, and everybody loved her. "Now I have a little sister to play with," said Grace, who was a little toddler. And now, finally, they'd completed their journey from being tiny little dots inside a cute little baby called Chrissy, inside a beautiful young woman called Leslie, inside a lovely little house in Surrey Hills in 1975, to becoming two cute little girls in 2017, and everybody loved them. Yay! "Gosh, we're both 42 years old already," they squeaked. And they were right. The end.